You have to go through the music distributors. Well, no, that's not exactly true. The future of music is personal, it's powered by technology, but you're making a lot more money than you are from streaming platforms. Thinking about your music career and your music business like a record label would. You have to step up your game or you're going to be left behind. Today, we're diving into basically the massive changes that are reshaping how music is created and distributed and consumed. Now, what's coming? What do you need to know? Basically, what's going on with the music industry and how are you going to survive all these changes? The feeling amongst indie artists, and it's been this way for a while, right? Whether you're a music producer or a musician or a label owner, it's just that the music industry is dead. And this perception is correct to some degree, but it's absolutely incorrect. And I'm gonna tell you why. Where I want to start is with just kind of the rise of AI, right? I've covered AI a lot on this channel and I've given you just an overview about Udio, for example, and terms of service. When it comes to using AI to create this stuff, that you guys are selling, right? That you're distributing. How does it work for your ownership? For your copyright, if you want to do deep dives on those, I've already done it for you, but we're also going to synthesize the information in this video for you. So if you are excited, get your gavels, give this video a big thumbs up. All right, so AI music creation, obviously, it's becoming increasingly more, not just trendy, but just helpful, right? So using ChatGPT to kind of get your initial ideas going for the music. And then there's just so many AI music platforms for generating melodies, generating entire songs. For some of you creators that are a little more timid about using it because you like to maybe write with a piano, you might, you might like to use your different DAWs and you don't want AI just to do it all for you, right? And so you might use it just to a small degree, right? I've had producers say, well, I just like to use it for the cover art. And so what's the impact? Well, obviously it's changing the landscape for traditional musicians and producers, myself included. I like to go over to my piano. It's over here. And when I write music, I just have almost always written and preferred to write with the piano and writing the melodies and just coming up with like the skeleton of the song before I actually take it into my program or give it to another producer or with a collaborator or whatever. That's just, what I like to do. But the way that people are now creating, there's a new norm. And I even had, clients who are asking me really interesting questions. And they might be, for example, if they're making cover songs, because some of you prolific business, music business people, you have figured out how to monetize music and you will have other people make it and you add to your catalog. And as AI is now becoming a tool that can be utilized, right? A question might be, well, if I make cover songs, and we know that it's lawful to make cover songs and distribute those onto streaming platforms. We've gone through this on this channel. What about having AI create the vocals? So if you're a producer and you don't really, work with a lot of singers and it's quite the pain in the butt to find one and then find one that's consistent and whatever, I've had questions about that. Well, can we use AI to create vocals for a cover song or even an original song? The creativity in how to utilize AI to then generate the media, which is what we talk about. We go, you are creating media, and it's not just the music. The music is a huge part of this, okay? And I think that's why people are like, this is the death of the music industry. The traditional way in how we made music, how artists were discovered, how we consume the music, everything has just so radically changed. And I think like even in the last 10 years, one of the biggest issues was just the introduction of the TikTok type of platforms and feeling like everything was so throwaway, right? There was not only so much oversaturation in that everyone could be a rock star now, everyone can be a bedroom producer. And so therefore nothing really feels special, right? This is how some may have felt for a time. But now we have to sell our soul to the devil of social media. And we have to do this watered down stuff of TikTok and dancing. Us creators have had to go through this evolution of just, things have changed so dramatically and how people find us and find our music has changed. Okay, so that's the landscape. So we have the creation, but then we have all kinds of, well, if we are using AI, do you own it? Do you have copyright in it? And this is where the wrinkles happen. We'll circle back on that. So we just have to understand that this culture of instant gratification is where we're at. That's the bottom line, okay? So there's been a shift in the consumption habits of people who are consuming our music. And so analyzing platforms like TikTok, like YouTube, and the short form content of just knowing that it has to be short and catchy and fun. And then all of a sudden, your album is now too long. So meaning, I'm the person who loves to make full-length albums. It's part of just expressing a story. Albums for me are very much like taking a little vacuum of my life and telling a bunch of things and making it all kind of related, having cool intros and interludes and all the good stuff. But you also have to understand that someone barely has enough attention to go and listen to your 2-minute, 3-minute song. And they are hopefully, at a minimum, going to hear the 15 seconds that you posted as a teaser with a little clip for your song over and over and over and over. And eventually, they ended up falling so in love with it that they went and listened to it on music platforms. That is not where things will stop, though. And this is why we're focusing on where the music business is going and where people are already winning and what I think is going to become the new norm. Okay. So the challenge is basically you have to produce content, you have to go for impact. Because now we go, well, yes, there's oversaturation. Yes, there's a whole lot of us trying to do the exact same thing. The quality of what you're doing and the brand is the thing that is going to set you apart from everyone else. So this is what brings us to the direct to consumer model, or as I like to call it, direct to fans, right? So in business and sales, we just go, if you are directly selling, which is what we're doing, the truth is, if you are selling a service, a good, right? It's your music, it's your singing services, it's your producing services, it's your sample packs, whatever you are selling, you want to do it directly to the fans because right now, the way that the business model works is that you have to go through all these third parties. You have to go through the music distributors to even get your music on music platforms. Well, no, that's not exactly true in that you can get people to at least connect directly to your music through your own resources, through your own website. And so we see the big boys of the world utilizing this now more often, and it's becoming the norm. And I can tell you, as you know, the lawyer of 10 years and representing really big names in the business, really big companies, they are all making these transitions, including Apple, including Spotify. Like these companies are having these conversations about incorporating the direct to fan model because it's not only needed, but it's how you can meaningfully make money. So, meaning if someone can actually do a digital download of your song, right? So, the iTunes days where you would purchase the song and add it into your library and all this stuff. And we moved away from that, right? So now it's mostly just the streaming. But when you can actually leverage your direct to fan model, you can have a higher profit margin, you can have higher fan engagement, and you have control over distribution. You control everything, including your audience, which we're going to talk about. We talk about things like exclusive releases, direct sales through social media, fan subscription models. And one of the best examples that came to mind when I was kind of thinking about this was Kanye West, or formerly known as Kanye West. Yay. He did the drop. Did you guys see this with the Super Bowl, right? So last Super Bowl, he does a $7 million ad spot. Okay. And he did a 30-second video. He grabbed his phone, he shot it himself, and he ended up making $19 million. And this is what he said, right? So he gets on his phone, he goes, hey, y'all, this is Ye. This is my commercial. And since we spent all the money on the commercial spot, we didn't spend all the money on the actual commercial, but the idea is I want you to go to Yeezy.com. That's it. And he made $19 million. So obviously you're like, well, Krystle, I'm not Kanye West. Well, we're seeing artists on all levels, from the very, small ones who might have like 100 people who are interested in what they're doing, making this make sense. And they're making so much more money than relying on streaming. Streaming, quite frankly, and using streaming platforms for me, and where I think it's going in the future, is they are glorified marketing platforms. Like, don't even expect to make a lot of money off of these platforms. If you do, good for you. That's great. But I think that even if you are making money in any kind of way, it's one of many places, just like record labels, just like media companies, that you could be monetizing your content. That is the future. So what's the future of streaming? Well, I kind of alluded it to, earlier, and it's just like the future of Apple Music, the future of Spotify is that they're going to integrate this community-driven experience, right? So that it could be almost like, I don't know, like an OnlyFans, right? So like a platform where you can get content and you can essentially upsell your fans into other things. Hey, have you gotten my shirt? Hey, did you get a signed poster? Hey, did you get signed lyrics from my song? And so I think not only we're going to see the majors doing this, but the independents of the world, be it labels, be it artists, you guys are already doing this. Okay. So I think that you are ahead of the curve. And if this is the first time you're hearing this kind of thing, well, now you know. So you're going to be ahead of the curve. So the challenge, obviously, is just transitioning to the direct to fan model and just not now thinking of just, oh, I got to make the music and then I got to post the music. No, that's not your business model anymore. You have to actually work on building your audience, because with an audience, there's logistics. You have to market. You have to get an email list, right? You have to get some kind of way to have control over your audience. And you're not just relying on social media, because social media goes away, or you're just at the mercy of an algorithm and 1% of your audience is even going to see your post that day, right? So the artists who are learning how to adapt to the direct to fan model, they're the ones that are already ahead of the curve and they're winning. Now, let's circle back to the AI part, right? So I had said, well, let me summarize this for you. The future of kind of creativity, I think AI is just going to be involved with it. How much is it for you? It's going to be different for everyone. But where I caution you, and I've kind of explained with these more deep dives, is that you just have to be really careful with what are you going to do with your content long term. In the short term, right, you have the ability to make cover art with AI and you have permission, in most of these cases to use that cover art. You always, we read the terms of service to make sure that's the case and that, they're not going to come back and be like, you don't have permission anymore. Okay, so you have the right to use it. What about the music? Do you have copyright in the AI created thing? And what we've covered on this show is that under US copyright law, you don't. In order to have copyright in the thing that you made, you have to be a human making it. So any AI portion of what you made, that portion is not protected. You have to what's called disclaim it. You have to tell the copyright office you don't own it. If it's the whole thing, that's no good. So where I've talked about this with clients in particular is that I just go, the future of what you're going to do with your content is you might sell it. You definitely want to do something with it. So you have to think about that as far as the business plan on in the short term, you can use it. There's concerns about authenticity, oversaturation, right? There's all that conversation. And if you are an AI person or a non-AI person, drop a comment down below. Love to hear from you. But you do have to consider the copyright issues and whether you can actually sell your copyright music and not even that. I'm sorry, the AI. It's the AI and the music. If it's fully AI created, can you actually sell it later on? You're going to have a hard time because part of the sales process is they want to see your copyright ownership. They want to see your contracts. They want to see your work for hire. You guys have to keep that in mind. So that brings me to Lander. So if you guys saw recently, I did a terms of service review for a platform called Lander. And what I found through the whole experience was that Lander actually does quite a few things, okay? And they do not only AI mastering, which is how I first heard of them. When we were kind of looking at their platform, right? They do, educational stuff. They let you buy credits so you can use samples. They distribute music. So they're really trying to be like one-stop shop for musicians and artists and producers, which I love. So we went through the terms of service, we found some issues, and I reached out to Lander. I'm like, hey guys, let's have a little chat. And they hit me back and they go, hey there, let's have a little chat, which I was very excited about. So we had a little chat. The marketing team was there. I think it was the VP was there. So it was all, great conversation where I had an opportunity to go down the list and talk about all of the things because I go, hey, one of the things we had a little bit of an issue with in your terms of service is that it says if someone uses and makes AI like they're an AI artist. So like 100% of what they do is just AI. Your terms of service basically say that you might ask to like see their setup and it kind of makes it sound like you're anti-AI. Are you? Now, obviously I kind of put them on the spot, but the way I think they navigated that is that they go, well, no, not exactly. Obviously we're okay with the AI, we use it, but they go, we really want to promote kind of more like artistry, like traditional artistry. We're fine with AI. We just don't want it to be like all that our customers do. I go, that's really interesting. We had this great conversation. And so I just wanted to at least note that and just give them little props, for having a little chat with me. And they said they're going to update their terms of service. So as soon as they do, I'm super excited to go, through their updates and to share that with you guys. But I think in the future of just AI and creativity, I think these businesses are also getting it. They're like, we can't stop it. It might not be what we do. Like Lander told me they've been around for 11 years. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought you guys were like brand new. Good to know. But these companies are kind of seeing where the trends are. And I see a lot of them doing this direct to fan model to try to empower you. And this is something I even tell my clients. I'm like, what can we do if we're serving artists to help them with this stuff? How can we get, 100 emails from their fans to just give to them, right? So now you can go and upload it and then email your fans. There's so much power in just that piece. So here's what I'm trying to say. The music industry, while we feel like it really is like the death of the music industry, there's oversaturation, AI is ruining everything for everyone. Companies are not going to buy our music anymore for sync licensing. The music industry is not dying. Despite all of that, it's not dying. Artists have to adapt. They have to embrace the new technologies, okay? And even if you don't, that's okay, right? So if you're like me, you're like, I still really want to write my songs on my piano, and I'm saying that's how I do my stuff. You still have to focus on direct to fan. Okay. Direct to fan is where it not only is trending towards right now, but it is the future. And it's going to open, new ways for fans to experience not just music, but your music, right? So like the Bandcamp platforms. And I heard an interesting argument that I think I agree with, which is with Bandcamp in particular. What's interesting about that kind of platform is if you sell something through your website, is your fan or is your customer more likely to put the credit card information into your website or into a platform like Bandcamp? So there's an interesting argument for that on if you do want to use a platform like Bandcamp, they are taking 10 to 15% of your income, but it still is the same model where you're putting up all your stuff, you're selling it directly, and so you're making a lot more money than you are from streaming platforms. The future of music is direct, it's personal, it's powered by technology, but really it's powered by you developing your brand and thinking about your music career and your music business like a record label would. And that's what we teach on this channel. And I know some of you want to deep dive and you want to understand and you want to get your contracts, and you want to do all the good stuff so you can monetize your content. And so if you want to check it out, I have the record label course where I teach you about music business mastery. You can learn what you need to learn in 30 days or less, but also just subscribe here. I do all these videos just so I can help you guys. Okay? I'm Top Music Attorney. I'll see you guys on the next one.